Hi there, this video is all about workflow tips and tricks. Now this whole section following is going to be a few videos on it. This particular video though is all the little bits and pieces that weren't big enough to have their own video, just like lots of little handy things. Some of them we've covered a touch before maybe in the course, but let's put them all together here. The first one is opening files. So on a Mac, okay, this is Mac only, if you grab an image, hold down the Command key and hit Tab, it shows you all the available applications that are open. You can just drag it into the actual thing. Okay, so just drag it right into there and it opens up. Or you can drag it, if you prefer, just down to your dock and just drag it straight into the icon. The next one is rotating your canvas. So I know that, see, I'm working on my mask here that we made earlier, got my brush tool, and I can drag down and, kind of down the edge of this really easily with my mouse, okay? All my arm muscles are really good at doing that movement. If I have to kind of go around this way though, I'm just not as capable of dragging it. That was pretty good. Okay, so rotating the canvas is pretty easy. Hold down the R key on your keyboard, just keep holding it down and then just click anywhere. You're not rotating your image, you're just kind of moving it so that you can then work in your kind of like natural habitat in terms of like masking. I'm not sure what I'm doing to the edge here, but you get the idea. Hold down R, move it around so that you can kind of get the natural angle for your Wacom instead of having to move it around your desk. Or me, I'm just using my mouse here. If you've got a MacBook Pro, actually I think it works on any MacBooks that were built in the last like 5 years. You can actually you don't have to hit the R key, you can just use your 2 fingers on your touchpad and just kind of like squiggle them around. Squiggle's not the word, but I've got 2 fingers on my touchpad and just turning it. I don't have to change any tools, it just moves it around nicely. Does that work on a PC? I guess it really depends on the machine. Give it a try. 2 fingers, and just give it a bit of a rotate. Like you're in Google Maps. You can pinch and zoom too. Once you're finished, you can hit escape on your keyboard in the top left and that just gets it back. You can leave it like this all you like. It will still export the right way out. It's just kind of like a temporary thing. All right, escape. Next one is Zoomify. We covered this in an earlier video, but I want to tie it in here again, just to put it all together nicely. So I'm working around, fixing up the edges here, touching it up, and I need to get down to the bottom left. Remember, hold down. Do you remember what it was? There's a key. You hold it down. It's the H key. Just hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. Click, hold your mouse. Okay, I'm holding the mouse the whole time and the H key, and then let go of your mouse. Okay, it just means you can jump from this point rather than doing the old dreaded, like, we've all done it, right? You're dragging, you're like, you've missed it, and you're trying to find it, and you're like, where is it? Oh, I should have zoomed out. Okay, so just hold down the H key, click, hold, and drag, and then let go, and it goes back to that exact zoom. You can start working nicely. Okay, another little tip and trick is under View. If you're working on one of the new MacBook Pros that has the touch bar, okay, it's that kind of like, it's above your keyboard, it's a physical, half physical thing. Don't have a new MacBook Pro without the touch bar, it's probably not gonna be there, I'm not sure. Go customize touch bar, and what you'll find is, you can't see it, it's on my other screen here, but it's giving me lots of ways to adjust that touch bar. I can just add different things to it. I'll do a screenshot and get the editor to add it in here. And although you can't see my kind of touch bar, they're all wiggling away, and I can say, actually, I want to go to the one that says blending mode, and I want to add that there because I use that quite a bit. Or see the one on the bottom right there says select a mask. We've used that load. I'm going to make sure that's on my touch bar. Anything that using loads, you can drag onto it. All right, jump out. All right, so that's the touch bar. You can also customize the toolbar across here, which is kind of cool. So see these three little dots here? You can click on this and click and hold it down and say edit toolbar. Just means you can tidy this up. If there's tools in here you just don't use, get rid of them. Let's say the lasso tool group, you just don't use any of these. You can just drag them over here and say, I don't want you, you, or you. You can see it just disappeared out of my list, tidying it up nicely. You can always go back to restore defaults. Another cool thing you can do is, let's say the slice tool was helpful, it's not anymore, right? But whenever I tap C, it turns I'm not sure if you've done this, but you accidentally type C and you end up with that little graphic in the top left corner, and you spend ages through View trying to turn it off. You can say disable the shortcuts for anything that's hidden. So we're not using the 3D materials, we're not using the ruler or these ones or count tool. Okay, all of these, once you've got it, you can save a preset and you're going to call these the Dan presets. You too can call it Dan presets. It just means that later on, if you restore defaults, okay, you can go back and load good old Dan's presets. Click open. Click done, you can see over here, and the eyedropper tool, see, nice and tidy, nice and clean. No lasso tool. One other one in there that you might turn off just to get it looking nice. Grab him, click on edit toolbar. You also see the ones you have turned off are actually in here, so they're not gone forever. They're just under this little extras list. Okay, edit toolbar. This one here, you might not use quick select. See it down the bottom here. appears, disappears. Same with this one you might not use. We're getting pretty nerdy here, right? So I'm gonna go restore defaults, click OK, because yours needs to look like mine for the rest of this course. I would totally do this if I wasn't an instructor. All right, so let's close down a couple of these. Don't want to work with you. I'll leave you open and you can go close. So let's say you're working on a couple of images, this one and this one. So this one here you may be retouching and you're trying to work it into this larger kind of group of artboards. We'll cover artboards later in this course, but this one here is quite nice. If you go to View, not View, go to Window, go to Workspace. This one here can be nice. When I say Workspace, I mean Arrange. So Window, Arrange, and this one here, either of these two I find quite useful. So two up horizontal or vertical just means I can see this one and this one at the same time. So it means I can be working on this document and kind of like dragging it across. Just makes life a lot easier than trying to use that kind of up into the tab thing. Okay. Yeah, just allows two documents open. Maybe one's for reference, or over here you're building a montage and you just kind of like got lots of different images. And you can have tabs in here as well, but have this kind of overall document open. To get back, Window, Arrange, and this one here it says, where is it? Consolidate all tabs. Other interesting things that don't get their own video, they get lumped into here, is your libraries. We're going to look at libraries a little bit more. If you can't see them, go to Window and go to Libraries. And what's useful in here is, let's say that I've got an image in my library. Actually, let's go to my stock images. Okay, you can have anything in your library and just say, actually, I like this. Can you go off and find a similar image? What it does is it goes and look at Adobe stock. You may or may not have a subscription to this already, but you can see it's gone through and found images that are very similar. Actually, in this case, they're super similar because I got them from, hey, look at that. Crazy that I got that one. It's pretty close. Okay, so it's just really handy. You can just dump anything into the libraries. Doesn't have to be a stock image. Let's dump this one into stock images. So I'm going to clear that out. I'm going to dump this one into my library. And then I'm going to right click it and say, go find me a similar image, please. It goes and checks Adobe stock. Now Adobe stock is a paid service. I pay for it every month. Man, how much is it? It's like 30 bucks a month, I think. You get 10 images, 20 image, 50 image. Man, I need to check that out. More than I need at least. All right, so mine's taking a little bit of a long time because I'm working in some terrible internet at the moment, but you can see it's gone through and found stock images that match this kind of image here. It's not related at all to Adobe stock. It's just an image from Unsplash. So just dump it into your libraries and click Find Visually Similar. And if you have a paid subscription like me, I can just click on this one and say either download a preview, okay, or actually just pay for it, license it, and give it to me. Cool, huh? So if you are paying for like Shutterstock or iStock, they're great libraries, but there are just so many cool ties between Adobe stock. So you might look at switching over. All right, another little tip is if we go to, what do we got? Yeah, let's use this one here. So there's a graphic that I'm working on for, actually I've finished this one now, but let's say I've got this type here. I'm gonna put it on its own layer. Get rid of this bit down here, just make it clean. Okay, so working with this font here, you can see it is font size. This is the line spacing or leading. So I can do a couple of things. One is I can just drag the icon up. Okay, that can be really handy instead of having to like go in here and type and go, oh, it only gives me 72. Okay, you can just kind of drag that icon up and down. We can also do in any field in Photoshop. So any field that we can find, I'll find a few more. There's ones up there, there's ones here. Just use so I've clicked in here. And I'm just going to use the up arrow on my keyboard. So up, 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 up. It just goes up and down. Cool, huh? Just, you don't have to like hold and drag and type. Just use your up and down. And if you want to go a bit faster, just hold the shift key down. And it does it in like 10 points rather than 1. So it's just a good way. So if I want a bit bigger, I can just hold down. I just click in here, hold down shift, and just tap the up key. This works in any field, not just fonts. You can hear line spacing. There is no line spacing. Let's click on this one. So click in here and I can just go up, hold shift and down just to increase that. So it could be the points as well. So moving the X and Y position. It could be an adjustments layer. I could go into here and say, actually, not that one. You can click in here and just go up, 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 and down, 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 down. Hold shift, okay, and do that. So any field, bad example, I guess, but just any clickable field that has numbers in it, you can just use your up and down. Hold shift to make it go faster. All right, next pro tip is to look in the channels and paths to see if there's a selection already. This is a stock library image. I've downloaded it. It was a PSD and it's just one old layer, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to mask these out. Okay, I can mask this out. But the thing to check, especially if it's a PSD and it's a file from a professional kind of like stock library site, there might be, if you're lucky, it's worth checking every single time, under channels or paths, there might be a saved mask, and they're just hidden in here. See here under the paths, somebody's gone around this one with a pen tool already, and it's just sneakily hiding here in paths. It's not obvious. I can click on it holding my command key, and it turns it into a selection. It's a control key on a PC. And now I can go back to my layers and add my mask, and it's a whole lot quicker than trying to do it myself. Often I find these things after I've spent like an hour masking something out. I get to a point where I'm like, man, they should have done this before me. I'm like, uh-oh. I go and check in paths, and let's undo. So they've done one for both books in here. Okay, so I can mask both of them out. Sometimes there are paths done with like the pen tool. Let's deselect. There's also one in here under channels. Remember we did channel mask earlier on? So somebody's done one of those for us here as well. There it is there. I can hold down my command key on my Mac, click it, turn back to RGB, and now I've got a mask, okay, for that little edge there. Not sure what that one's for, but it was in there. I might really need it. So if it's a JPEG, it won't include this data, but if you download something and it's a PSD, there are a few other file formats that do contain this as well. What, a PDF? Not sure, EPS maybe. It's worth checking. Where it happens to me a lot is when I get kind of marketing material, say Adobe, because I'm a certified training center, they send me lots of marketing material and it's just this flat graphic and I'm like, how am I going to use this? And I go into channels or paths and I'll see, there's a mask ready to go for me. So if you are working with a large supplier and they're sending you these bung files, it might be that they're just hiding in channels and paths. It's worth a look. There is my kind of Adobe Instructor Certification badge, an Adobe logo. All of these I want to have a drop shadow and I want it to be the same. So instead of doing it per layer, what you can do is you can grab all of these guys. So I'm clicking and dragging across them all, make sure I got them all, put them in a group, and then go down to effects and just apply the drop shadow to the whole thing. Big drop shadow. I'm just gonna have a teeny tiny one. And by teeny tiny, that's not even that teeny tiny. I'm not sure why I'm spending ages now, but you can see they all have a consistent drop shadow all around them, just using one of them on the whole group, rather than each individually. All right, two more tips in this one. One is, I don't know why I feel compelled to show you this one. It is under the eyedropper tool, the one that says the count tool. And if you, I don't know, it's me, my math, I think there's some dyspraxia in there, I don't know. But this is helpful, watch this. It's the count tool. How many of these have I got? I use this for rows and columns and stuff when I'm doing web stuff, or you might be I don't know. Photoshop's weird. It gets used by doctors and police and forensics. I teach all sorts of people. You think, I don't know. I feel like doctors should have some sort of specialized equipment, but often they'll use Photoshop, okay, with high resolution images. And yeah, I'm not sure what we're counting, but I know there's 20 of them. It might be for, say you're an architect, or I'm trying to invent uses for this now. Let's get clear. All right, so I want to say last but not least, but it's on the end of my list here for a reason, right? I use it though, so I was like, it has to be in there somewhere. Because there'd be one person out there that they might find it really useful. So I made a basic selection in here, and most people don't know you can go to select and go to transform the selection, okay? And you can I can make it a bit bigger. I can shrink it down. I can transform a selection like I can do any other shape. I feel like we petered out at the end there. We started with some cool stuff and we ended up with transform selection. I hope you found something good in there. There's still a chunk more of our workflow tips and tricks, but they've got their own little videos now because they've got a bit more substance. So let's go and jump into one of those now.